Hi everyone, welcome to another video here in the Academy at Chesterfield Golf Club. It's really lovely to have you along for another video. My name is Warren Bennett. This little happy thing walking around is Trev. He's got his ball out today, so you're going to hear a couple of squeaks unfortunately. I'm going to give you my 5 top tips to help you straighten out your slice and turn it into a draw. Now, you don't have to draw the ball to be a good golfer. You can definitely hit the ball with a fade, but what you don't want to do is turn this fade into quite a prominent slice. That's going to stop you creating the distance you require, especially the control, but more importantly, it's going to give you more of a chance to hit the back of the ball and create a little bit more distance. So let's get on it. 5 things to help you improve your slice and turn it into a draw. Right, number 1, I'm going to give you 2 things actually before you actually take the club face back. First thing is sorting out your grip, especially your top hand. Your top hand needs to be what's called strong. So as I look down, my top hand thumb is more to the right of the grip. What you don't want to do is to have a weak left hand grip. That's really going to give you, having your grip in a more of a strong position is really going to activate this hands and arms more correctly, especially giving you a little bit more range of motion of these wrists. If you have it in a weak position, it's very hard to create the natural speed and especially the release we require. So having the hand in that stronger position, so like we always say, and I've said in previous videos, changing a grip can feel very strange, but you just have to trust it, because the more we can get into this strong left hand, the easier it is for this club to be working correctly to try and straighten out that slice. So that's the first move. Second one, before we take the club face back, is you're going to see more from the behind view. What you don't want to have is a prominent right arm, obviously for right-handed golfers. Now that's exaggerated, but you can see underneath my right arm, you can see my left. What that's going to do is going to tilt your shoulders down, and it's going to obviously get your shoulders open. You're going to find it absolutely probably impossible to draw it from there. So what you're looking for is the opposite. You're looking for your right arm to be underneath. And obviously for right-handed golfers here, if you're left-handed, just reverse all this. Right arm in. You can see from the front view now, I've got more of a tilted shoulder. Left shoulder's a little higher than the right. And from the behind view, you can see my left arm now. Because what you're trying to do, you're trying to achieve a little bit more of an inside approach. And that setup is going to give you that. So there's 2 things you can actually do before you take the club face back. Right, any sort of changes will feel new and a bit weird, but it will give you a little bit more chance to create that inside approach and draw it. So let's move on to the 3rd thing, which is the backswing. Now the backswing, we've said in all previous videos that have highlighted to try and stop the slice, is you want to be able to coil it more in the backswing. So what coil is to be able to move this trunk and allow your hip, your right hip, to move back a little bit. And I say a little bit. You don't want to over-coil it, you don't want to lock this back leg out. It's just a subtle move, and what that's going to do is going to be able to give you the twist and the coil and the turn, whatever you want to call it. Move that ball. To be able to, from the front view, you can see I've got spine tilt. So I've got spine tilt now away from the ball. You don't want your right hip to block and push, and that's going to give you the opposite. It's going to give you a tilting action to hit down on it. You want to do the opposite. You want to coil, and then you'll be able to coil and turn away from the ball without swaying. So you don't want to actively sway away from the ball here. The coiling of this belly button and your belt buckle will give you that automatically without having to sway. So I can now really load up this right pocket, and so I'm really now ready to move laterally into the ball. And that spine tilt is incredibly important to set you up for the 4th thing. So the 4th feel now is a blend of the backswing into downswing. It's not separate. Obviously, if you're working on separate feelings, you can stop and wait for it. But now what you want to try and do, we're not going to wait for it. We're going to really thrust this bottom half forward and keep this top half back. Let me show you. Coil and then thrust forward. So you can see it's exaggerated. You can see I'm really back behind it, but what that's going to do is going to encourage the club to drop way under me. That's exaggerated, but if you want to turn that slice into a draw and start it right and draw it back and create a little bit more power, that's the secret. I would say in order of importance, I would go coil and lateral move, because without that, if you're doing the opposite, you're going to find it impossible. So twist, and then really, it's like you are pressurizing and sliding your entire pockets, left and right, move that here, forward. So you can see it's not just a separate feeling, it's kind of all mashed into one there. So it's a great little exercise you can do there. Coil, by the time the club gets, your shoulder kind of starts hitting into your chin, you're going to thrust these pockets forward. You can see I haven't kicked out yet, but I'm just really sliding and getting some pressure into this forward leg here. Okay, into this left leg of mine, really pushing and sliding everything forward here. Exaggerated, but what you're trying to do is move this and separate your bottom half to your top half. So you can see that's closing out my top half here. From the behind view, you can see I've got a massive gap. Obviously I probably won't be able to do that in the ball, and that's going to set me up for success to be able to release this club now, which is the fifth and final feeling. Excuse me, I'm just going to blow my nose. Sorry about that this time of year, unfortunately, which is good and bad news. Unfortunately, right now it's 0 degrees when I drove in this morning. But the good news is we've got the sun shining, so it's not going to be very long, hopefully, for me to be outside and show you some course videos, some bunker videos, short game, and a little bit more kind of interactive on the golf course instead of here in the studio. Right, let's get on it. So the feeling, remember, is the coil. So we're coiling away from the ball. We're really sliding our hips forward, our pockets forward. We're not spinning out yet. Really, remember, it's a dual feeling. It's mashed into one. That allows the arms to drop. Now from here, we're staying pretty stationary, but your right leg, your right knee, and your right hand release. Now if you're right-handed, it's a little table tennis feeling. So we're rolling this right arm from what's called open, palm up to palm down. If you're left-handed, it'll be the opposite. If you're wearing a glove, you've got a logo here, and you're looking for this logo to be pointing up, which we'll do naturally. So the feeling now is to point this logo down as much as you can. That's what's now going to close and roll this club face from the in to out. So you can now do practice swings. So bit of grip, bit of right arm at the start. Don't worry about over exaggerating it. You can see now it's really going to tilt my shoulders. That's probably too much, but hey, why not? It's going to feel like I'm stretched a bit here on my left side, and I'm sinking down into my right. Coil, lateral slide, release. Coil, lateral slide, release. You can see I'm breaking that down to start with, but I'm really keeping this coil and lateral slide in one, because you want the arms to be reactive to that, which allows the arms to drop in the slot. You can see my right arm's right into my side, then from here I just release. Don't really move a lot. For me and for you, you need to release your hands, which is here. You're not really moving your top half at all here. And you can give your knee and your foot a little kick in here as well. And you can see that's what's going to create the speed of the hands and arms just rolling without you really staying put, without you moving, just staying put, allowing this club to swing past you and through. That's how you hook it. Now you can do little practice swings. I've got a driver here, you can do it with an iron if you like. And you can see I'm trying to blend up this feeling now. Coil, slide, release. You can see that's way too much. But that's how you turn this kind of over the top motion, staying back, cutting across it, chicken wing. That's how you do the opposite. Make sure I'm in a good position at the start. Coil away, allowing my bottom half to twist a bit, slide, release. Right, let's hit a bit. I'm just going to do it with an iron. That's what I suggest you do to start with. Just a few slow motion swings with the iron. Okay, so you won't be able to tilt your shoulders as much and get your right arm in as much with the driver than you would do with an iron, but twist. Now, why you do it with an iron and you slow it down a bit, it just gives you a bit of awareness time to move while the club's in motion. Coil. Don't worry about, it's not really about results for the first few. Twist. Really slide into the ball and release. Everything's a dual feeling really. Because by the time you move, get your pockets, you've got to get that right hand, left hand rolling. Really got to get it rolling. Because by the time you kind of think about this, you've got to get going. Because otherwise it's going to leave it out to the right. So you've really got to get this club face closing as much as you can. Because remember, that's what's going to turn the left to right spin into right to left spin. This is going to get the path sorted out, get the club a bit more in from the inside, and now you need to close the door. And you see a lot of pros, because remember, what you're trying to do is at impact, everything moves a little bit more forward. And this is what you're trying to do, but you're trying to set it up with a backswing, set it up with a downswing, and now just close the door with your hands and arms. More, everything, I would say to our students, is more than you think. Because you need to gain and feel a mile to gain an inch. Especially in golf, we all think we're changing it massively. And we look back on our cameras we've got in the studio here, and it's changed people and the students can't believe how small they've changed it. But that's a bit of practice. And that's why I encourage to do swings like this. Really slow motion. Now for me, it's not the greatest exercise in the world because I tend to do this too much, so I need a bit of rotation. But I'm here to show you. Twist. Don't mind little rehearsal freezer exercises. Really get forward and release. Exaggerate it, smooth, release. Okay, they're my 5 top tips to help you turn that slice into a draw. Really hope that helps. Change clubs, change speeds, and just keep working at it. Remember, everything's a blend. If you can get in the position as best you can, because remember, a golf swing's kind of a cause and effect. So the best you can get, the first domino moves, if you can get that domino working in the correct order, it's much easier then for this club to react. Because remember, what you're trying to do, you're trying to drop this club into a bit more of a slot that's inside and being able to release it. Sounds good on paper. Obviously with me doing it, it's obviously easy because I don't have that over the top fault. But do this very gradually and to give yourself a little bit of time and to layer just a few little exercises and layer these feelings into your golf swing. But trust me, the more you do it and the more you trust it, especially in order of importance, I would go coil, so moving your right pocket, moving your belt buckle, that gives you a bit of twist, coil, and especially this move here. It's really important being able to really lateral slide and then release. A lateral slide and release, I would say, is order of importance. Doing that off a backswing, that's a little bit more coiled, will help that path even more. Okay, so great to have you along. If you want any more videos like this, please subscribe and I'll see you on the next one. From myself and Trev, cheerio.